Alright, what's going on? Coming back again with another deck profile, another absolutely non-meta deck profile. This time we're looking at the best deck of all time, Pendulum. Um, when hand traps were running amok, we really couldn't do a whole lot. One hand trap and that's game over. Luckily for us, there are no hand traps running around. No Ash, no Imperm, no Veiler. The only kind of hand traps you got going on interact with the graveyard, like the Bystials. Luckily for us, every single card that we play just goes to the extra deck. So I feel like right now is a really good time for Pendulum to thrive. Again, no hand traps, no nothing, and it's got a really good rank 4 toolbox. So you're gonna make things like Abyss Dweller, your Tornado Dragon. So many good cards that you can make just off of just 2 level 4s, especially Abyss Dweller. We hate tier, anti-tier, no tier love around here. But enough of that. Let's go ahead and get into this deck profile. Starting off with the main deck, we're gonna be looking at 3 Stratos. Well, the Stratos of the deck, my bad. Performocrat Skull Crobat Joker. Plays at 3. So Skull Crobat is just gonna search you pretty much any card in your deck. Really good to get your play started, and you usually set your chronograph into your scale, pop your chrono, especially some of the time gazer, nor some of your skull crobat, and then you go into your Beyond the Pendulum, pay your 12, and then you just add any pend. So really good starter, and no Ash, no Imperm, no Veiler going around, so odds of this going off is pretty good. Then you're going to want to max out on the other magicians. I'm just going to make a little bit of room. You got 3 Double Iris, 3 Harmonizing, 3 Oath, 3 Wisdom Eye, and oh wow, it's terrible. My bad. And the last 3 ofs, 3 Celestial. So Double Iris is really good. You set in the scale, it pop itself, and then once it pops itself, you add a Time Gazer spell or trap. You're gonna add the Time Gazer trap, which is a pop 2, and if it doesn't pop 2, it sends 1 more. Keep in mind, it sends, not destroys. Harmonizing on special summoning from your hand, you can special another magician from your deck, which is really good to immediately go into any rank 4. Or what I like to do is some super secret sauce. Where you special the Harmonizing, summon your Time Gazer, you make a level 7 Synchro Odd Eyes Meteor Burst. We'll get into that later. 3 Oath, I've got a Pend effect. If you have a Magician in your other scale, you can add back a Magician that's face up in the extra deck. Wisdom Eye is probably one of the best Magicians you're going to have in your deck. Set stuff for your scale, and if you have another Magician in the other scale, it destroys itself, and you set any other scale, any other Magician, and you just automatically set it. Really good to get your scales sorted out if you draw poor. Doesn't happen, but in the case that it would, Wisdom Eye is pretty good. And finally got 3 Celestial Magician. Just another body, another extender. It's a dark, so you can banish it off of Allure. Just really good. I primarily use its effect, the Pendulum effect or the Synchro effect, where if you have a Synchro on the field, your opponent cannot activate monster effects for the rest of the turn, and then if you have a Pendulum monster on the field at the end phase, just add a Pendulum. Just really good for follow-up, or good to have the discard for IP in hand. Then we're going to at 1 Purple Poison, 1 Dragon Pit, 1 Astro, 2 Pendulum Sorcerer, and to round off the Pendulums, you got 3 Chrono, 1 Time Gazer, very standard. Purple Poison, just a niche scale effect, just another Magician name. Dragon Pit Magician is actually very pivotal for the combo in the deck. You summon, when you synchro to the Odd Eyes Meteor Burst, you want to have the Dragon Pit in scale. You special the Dragon Pit off of the Meteor Burst, then you make a spicy XCs. We'll get into it. 1 Astro, because he's a level 7. Again, same reasoning for the Dragon Pit. He's also got a good effect if a card destroys special himself. Pretty good body. 2 Performapal Pendulum Sorcerer. Again, just a low scale, low body. If he summons, if you special summon, you can pop 2 and add 2 Performapals, but it doesn't really come up. And then just a standard 3 Chrono, 1 Time Gazer. Very standard ratio for that. Time Gazer just is used to either go into the Beyond the Pendulum, and then if not that, just to synchro into the Meteor Burst with the Harmonizing. So that's going to be it for the Pendulum monsters. Moving on to the only hand traps we play. We play 3 Dimension Shifter. This deck does not care about its graveyard. Doesn't really matter what you do to the grave. Just 3 Dimension Shifter. There's also a Spellcaster, so you can revive it off of Celine. You can add off the Time Star Magician. Just nuts, just crazy. And the one of Scythe. So Scythe is pretty cheeky. It's pretty cute. If you attempt to Bestial the Scythe and Grave, more often than not, you're gonna have an Apollousa negate up, so it's not really gonna matter. But I like Scythe. It goes off a lot of the time. It's very fun, especially if you don't see it coming. Moving on to spells, had 3 Pen Call, 3 Duelist Alliance, and 2 Allure Dark. So Pen Call is still a really good card. Protects your scales. Discard 1. Search any 2 magicians. Really good. Keep in mind that when you activate Pendulum Call, you can't destroy your own scales, so you can't double Iris, you can't Wisdom Eye, and make sure not to activate any magician spells before you activate it, because you cannot activate Pendulum Call if you've already activated a magician spell. Duelist Alliance just adds you any Pendulum card from deck to hand, so you're going to be adding the Pendulum Call most of the time. Just another spell to dump in the grave for the Celine as well. And just 2 allures for some draw power. Sometimes your hands can get a little bit clogged, so you're gonna want to be able to draw into some more stuff. And for the last 2 cards is the Pendulum Graphs. You got the Time and your Star Pendulum Graph. So you're gonna be adding the Time off of the double Iris just to have extra interruptions. And it prevents your spellcaster from being targeted by trap effects, and then your Star Pendulum Graph prevents it from being targeted by spell effects. Star Pendulum Graph, whenever a pendulum monster leaves the field, you can add a pen from deck to hand, which is really good for consistency. Just, really good package. You don't want to play them more than one because they are searchable again, but all around, just very standard ratios for that. But, very fun, very cheap. Getting into the extra deck, I'm going to be playing 1 Time Star Magician, just any level, 2 level 4 dark pendulum monsters. Just searches any magician card, and spellcaster, I believe. You can search your D Shifter. You can search any your Skull Crobat if you haven't normal summoned yet. Really good. I've got Abyss Dweller. We hate Tier here. No Tier. You play this against Tier. I mean, if you know your opponent's playing Tier, just activate it game 2. This deck's really easy to OTK, and this deck just spits out level 4s like nobody's business, so it's really not that difficult to put in a Abyss Dweller. Tornado Dragon just to pop the set Scythe. 1 Baguska. So if you didn't draw that good, just set up the Baguska. More often than not, it's just gonna be just a pass turn on that. And finally, to round off the XEs, Spice. Good old Absolute Dragon. So for Absolute Dragon, I guess I'll in tandem the Vortex Dragon. The Absolute Dragon, you're gonna make it off of the Meteor Burst and any level 7 being Dragon Pit or Astrograph, and then you're gonna link off the Meteor Burst and the other level 7. You're gonna go into Dagda. Absolute, when he hits the grave, he special summons an Odd Eyes from your extra deck, and then that'll trigger the Dagda. So you set the Scythe, and then you summon your Vortex to have an Omni negate. Just really nice, very consistent, very easy to get off combo. For the synchros, just the aforementioned Meteor Burst. Its one and only purpose is to make the Absolute, and a Savage. Again, you spit out so many level 4s. Harmonizing is just a really good card. Moving on to the links, you've got probably one of the best cards in your extra deck, Beyond the Pendulum. Just really good. Takes the Pendulum and an effect monster, 2 pens, whatever you got. However, you have to Pendulum summon right after you use the effect of Beyond the Pendulum. If not, all your monster effects are just negated, and your spells, your Pendulum scales are done. So just keep in mind, pretty important. Again, IP, just you know, an IP if you can't. Just a good card, just you're gonna use that to go into your unicorn, of course. You got a Dagda, again, just to supplement the scythe plays. Very good stuff. You can, you know, attach it to your Borreload Savage's material as well. Celine, just to extend, you know, just you're gonna special that Dimension Shifter or whatever else you have in hand or grave, whatever you pitch up a Pendulum Call, just really good to keep going. For your level 4, you're gonna have one Appaloosa. Really good card. You're pretty much always gonna make an Appaloosa off of a Celine and a Magician. For a two material Appaloosa, so you can just go ahead and negate that that Bestial that would banish your Scythe from grave, or really whatever. It's just a really good card. And just to push for game is one access code talker. Again, if you're going second instead of going into the Appaloosa, you just go into the access code and just push for game. So that is going to be it for the extra deck. Yeah, the deck is pretty cheap. This is definitely very budget. There's really not a single card in here that hasn't been reprinted into the ground, so it's very cheap deck. And to end everything off, we're gonna be the side deck. So this side deck is just for my locals, which is a lot of Tier, a lot of Materia, stuff like that, some Sword Soul every now and again. Started off, we're gonna have three Nibiru, you know, just for like Materia combo. You really don't want to play that against Tier, but you know, Materia, stuff like that, Sword Soul, whatever. 2 Eradicator Epidemic Virus, you know, just nice to tribute a dark monster, and then just get rid of the spells or traps, whatever you got. There can be only one. You can only control one monster of each type. Your end board is only going to have, it's going to be Appaloosa, Vortex, and then an Abyss Dweller, which is usually just, you know, all different types, so it doesn't really hurt you any. Decent away. Got 3-dimensional barrier. Again, Tier hate. We hate Tier here. We're really not playing any like the Bestial stuff. No Silent Graveyard, Macro D-Fissure, just because you're already you already have Abyss Dweller and D-Shifter, so there's really not that much more reason, in my opinion, to keep applying the hate. But if you want to, go ahead. We hate Tier here. Any more reason to disrupt Tier is fine by me. But again, just Dimensional Barrier, again, very self-explanatory. Got 3 Dark Ruler no more. You know, if your opponent sets up a crazy board, just go ahead and hit that Dark Ruler and then combo off, and you know, that'll be game. And then finishing off, you got 2 back row removal now that Mystic Mine is is banned, you know, it's dead. Yeah, I don't really see a lot of reason to be running an exorbitant amount of back row removal, but just in case, you know, you run into like Runics or Labyrinths or whatever, you know, you got some sort of removal for that. So that's actually gonna be it for the deck profile. I was actually thinking about doing some kind of like combo videos, combo tutorials, stuff like that. So if you'd like to see any of that, just feel free to comment down below. Let me know what you think. But yeah, that's gonna be it, guys. Thanks for watching. Just stay tuned.